Morning, guys. It is Sunday. Had to go plow snow again last night and yesterday morning. Yesterday morning we got about, I'd say there was right around 2 inches on the ground by about 6-7 a.m. Actually went out before that, and some of my parking lots had zero tolerance for snow, so normally we plow at 2 inches and up, which doesn't really sound like a lot, but more than anything around here, because we can usually keep up with it and get some salt on it, it's to keep the ice buildup to a minimum. So I had done that, and it really didn't look like it was snowing too awful hard. So I came home, and I didn't sleep much the night before just because I didn't think it was going to be any big deal. Well, it turned into an all-day event, so that was stupid on my part. The places I salted stayed in halfway decent shape. They only got about an additional inch on them, but the places that don't get salt, like my condo complex that I'm doing, they had about 3 inches on them by 10 o'clock last night. It just was a light snow all day long, and the sun never came out. It wasn't even this bright out, which isn't saying much. It looks like doom and gloom today, but you can see there's still ice and crap on the roads. This is on my street, which is kind of I don't want to say it's a secondary road because we have a high school on my street, but we are out in the country, so not being in the city, and all the corn's cut down around us, so there's nothing in the fields to block the wind. My sinuses are going crazy. But here we're on a state route, and it's in real good shape. I love the people snow blowing their gravel driveways, throwing rocks and shit everywhere. That was pretty cool. Not much going on today. I'm heading to the shop. I picked up a pallet of salt the other day. And my pickup is empty of salt right now, so I gotta load some bagged material into this truck. We're supposed to go visit some friends tomorrow for New Year's, but they're calling for snow again, and they live in the snow belt. So I don't know that we're going to do that. Haven't made up my mind entirely yet. I'm gonna fly by the seat of my pants and see what happens here. Fortunately, I don't have any places that are open as far as businesses on New Year's morning, but I do have some residential clients, as you've seen in my previous videos, that my condos don't require plowed unless there's 2.5–3 inches on the ground, but my other places have some pretty steep driveways, and have half a dozen of those that will need plowed. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do. I certainly am not the kind of guy who will go out and get all tuned up and then go out and drive the truck. I've done that before in my younger days, and let me tell you what, it's not the drinking part. When you're plowing snow, if you had a few the night before or whatever, it's how you feel while you're out there. All you want to do is go home and go to bed. Highly discourage against that. Of course, you don't promote drinking and driving ever, but I mean, it's happened. I mean, I know we've gotten surprised a couple of times. You go out and you go to a Christmas party or something like that, and your wife drives you home, and then 3 o'clock in the morning you get up and look out the window and you're like, uh-oh, I gotta go to work. And at that point, you can't even wake up. You're slugging back coffee and just trying to stay awake, just so you can get back home and crawl back in that nice warm bed. I want to cut and buff on those cab corners on the truck, which I showed you guys. I'm running a little low on diesel fuel in my heater. I think I got a little less than a quarter of a tank in my 200,000 BTU one, and the other one's pretty much empty. 70 degrees every day, you're looking at $600 just to heat it. But it's, you know, it's what I got. So I thought about getting one of those heaters like HPR has with the propane, but propane is not that inexpensive around us. The bigger cylinders are less money, but if you're going to run like a grill tank, a 20 or 30 pounder, I think a 30 pounder is almost $30, which is ridiculous. And I don't have any larger tanks, nor do I want to spend $300-400 on one of those unit heaters for like a garage to put in a shop that I don't plan on being at forever. Watched some HPR videos this morning when I got home, and yeah, buddy, I really like that filler detective. I know Tommy Shoes got one of those, and I want it kind of for the same reason you bought one, so that I know kind of what thickness my filler is. And I'm like you, I pretty much get everything real nice before I start slapping mud on it. You know, you'll get your occasional something or other that you can't pull it out far enough. I try not to sculpt things out of mud, but you know, you have that sometimes. I got the skid steer in the shop. The thing had a dead battery again when I went to start it the other morning. I need to buy a new battery for it. 10-12 years on a skid steer battery on a machine that sits outside all the time is unbelievable. I can't believe it ever lasted that long. It's fine when it's inside, but it's weak. And it's a maintenance free, so there's nothing I can really do to straighten it out. They do make those battery desulfators, and it's like a clip-on unit. Kind of like a battery tender, I think. And they're supposed to break the sulfates off the plates out, but I might try one of those. I don't know. That equipment battery is a pretty pricey little unit. Right now, as long as I keep it inside, it's okay. So. It's not the first time I've ever done any jobs like that, but it's been a long time since I've done a rocker and cab corner job. I got a couple of guys who are starting the same kind of projects who've been asking me some questions, and I try to answer them the best I can. A lot of guys are asking me why those rockers rot out like they do, and my best explanation is, especially for a vehicle that sits outside and is not a garage kept vehicle, maybe it sits on a gravel driveway or something like that, you get a lot of condensation build up inside those rockers, and you can oil spray or undercoat inside them, but with that intermediate panel in there, even if you spray oil from the back side, it never gets to the outer rocker. It hits that intermediate one. Which, of course, on mine in the back by the cab corner was completely it dries out and shrinks and cracks and flakes off. And the one thing I don't like about the asphalt-based undercoating is when it flakes off like that, especially in a rocker situation or cab corner, there's drains in there, and that stuff will flake off and plug those drains up. So I try and just use an oil, like drain oil, out of your vehicle, and I mix it with linseed oil, which you can buy at your box store, Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware store, home paint supply place, because linseed oil is it's classified as a wood and metal preservative. It gets real gummy and sticky, and I mix it with the drain oil because it makes that oil stick and create like a grimy, greasy coating. And that coating is where you get your protection, and it doesn't flake off that easy. Usually, once a year is a good enough coating, and I try and do the vehicles before winter. Of course, I didn't do any of them this winter because I'm doing body work on all of them. And I did the Super Duty here. I did it back in like September, knowing that I'd be late winter before I got to it, and it shouldn't be any problem. You really try not to weld on anything that's covered in oil. Makes for a real bad weld situation, not to mention the risk of fire, so I try not to do that. But I've been fairly diligent with oil soaking the frames and underbodies of my vehicles. And it's still, with those rockers and cab corners on that Duramax, it didn't seem to completely prevent it. I think it might be better off now because I didn't put that intermediate panel back in there, but I could be wrong. So anyways, I'm going to get here to the shop, and I'm going to clean up my parking lot and load some salt, and I'll bring you guys back when it's time to do a little cut and buff. I just can't believe these little snows they're calling for, and we end up with 2 or 3 inches, and they're saying less than an inch. So it's just been a vicious cycle of go out and work in the middle of the night, and then come home and sleep until 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and then go out and do it all over again. And for those of you guys who do this, you know what it does to your body. You don't want to do anything. You just get run down, and you start to feel like all you want to do is sleep during the day, and you want to be awake all night. And this time of the year, I'll come out to the shop on the days where I'm not plowing snow, and I might lounge around during the day and get some stuff done around the house, and then I'll come out to the shop at night and pull an all-nighter at the shop, working on body work and stuff like that, because I can't sleep at night. It gets your sleep schedule so goofed up. So anybody who does that, they know all about it. Alright guys, well, I am going to cut this video short, and I'll bring you back when I'm doing some work on the old Duramax. So hope you're having a good day, and oh hey, camera vibrated right over to me. We'll talk to you later. Alright guys, we're in the shop and we're working on the Duramax here, and while I was waiting for it to warm up so I could shut the heat off, I'll show you what I was doing. You remember driver's side corner, top of the cab here. You can see silhouette of a run there. I was razor blading on that, trying to get rid of it, and that one you're not going to be able to see because there's not enough light. But I was hitting this with some 2000 grit, and I'll show you what I'm using here. You can see, sorry for the shaky cam. See a little silhouette of the way the light's hitting that, maybe. And there's not a lot of peel in it. I'm just hitting it with some 2000. So I got a sheet of this is 2000 grit. This is Mirka paper, or I'm sorry, this is Meguiar's paper. I really like that paper. And what else I have is I have some of these 3M Hook It 1500s for my finish sander right there, which I may use real quick over the cab corner area. I just wanted to hit that with some 2000 to see what it was going to take to break through it, and it isn't taking much. It's had a week to dry, so I'll get you guys on the stand here. I don't know how much of this we're going to be able to see. I'm going to hit that with the 1500 here in a second after I tie my shoes so I don't fall over. And the DA has an interface pad on it, which is the soft foam pad. And this is a dry system. You can use it wet, but I'm going to use it dry just really ever so quickly. You gotta watch, it'll get little balls of clear coat on it or trash, so you gotta check it. And the other thing is you want to be careful with this around any of the edges, because it will burn really quickly. That's all I'm actually going to do with this, because I don't trust it to burn through those edges. So we're going to take the 2000 grit on the soft block here, and we're going to keep cutting into that. And I'll show you kind of as I go what I'm looking for. I'm not getting real crazy taking all the peel out of this. Some guys put soap in the water. Celeste RT says soap is for dopes. I use it sometimes I don't. I think I got one drop in there and it's not even making any suds, so. Using my pad as the squeegee here to take the water back off of it to kind of check my progress. I don't care if it's got a little peel in it, the rest of the truck's got a little peel in it. And I'm afraid that I'll break through these edges. There's probably a better way to do this. This is the way I know how. I've got 2 coats of clear on this, but it's medium solids clear, so I'm going to get too stupid with it. See if the camera will pick that up. I think you can see that where you see the shiny and the dark spots. The dark spots are the tops of the orange peel where I'm sanding it. That's still a little wet up there, but it's pretty much out. Excuse me. You really want to be careful and not roll your paper around these edges. Try and stay flat. And if at any point when you're sanding you start to see something other than the white milky substance, which is your clear coat you're sanding, stop, because you're standing in your base coat. Again, I'm not looking for taking all the peel out of this. I just want to make sure in this visible part that there's not a bunch of trash and that it's knocked down pretty decent. And that I don't have any runs in it. I put a run in the bottom of the other cab corner and in the top of this one, which I think I've got 95% of this out. And this MS30 Matrix Clear Coat sands really, really easy. So I don't know that I'd use anything any stronger than 1500 on it. It just sands too easy. You run the risk of burning through unless you have several coats. And like I was saying, I've only got 2 on this one. Which is adequate for UV protection. Oh, I thought I had a run coming around the bottom of that body line. Alright, I'm going to squeegee that off and kind of show you what that's going to end up looking like. I had a little more work to do there, but you can see how there's no peel here, and there's still just a teeny tiny bit here, and there's a little piece of trash in it right there I need to get out. But you can see how dull and flat that is. That's where you stop. And after I get done cutting it down with that, I have these are Mirka. Abralon 2000, and I'll buzz over it real quick with those. 2000 is usually about as far as I go because it usually buffs up pretty easy. So that's kind of that. I'll bring you guys back when I'm ready to hit that with the DA in that 2000 to finish it up. Alright, we'll catch you in a little bit. Alright, I have that 2000 grit Mirka Abralon pad here on the DA, and it's wet, and I'm going to buzz over this whole thing real quick. And I started a little bit at the top just to see how it was going to work on this application, and it seems to be pretty good. You just don't want to stay in any one place for very long. That was a pretty nasty run that was up here. And I did razor blade it off, and I'd love to show you guys how to do that. But there's nowhere to put the camera up here. I'll show you how to do it on the other side. There's just no room here. I'm like 6 inches away from the ceiling. Stop with that right there, since I've already kind of been over it by hand once. And this video is going to get really, really long, so let's try and keep it on the down low here. Okay, remember there was a pretty big step up there and I got 90% of that out. And back there, that one's out too. It was right along in here. Sorry about shaking you guys around here. But you can see that's sort of uniformly dull. And that's what I want. That's where I'm going to start buffing on that. And I'll show you the product that I'm using. First of all, here's my buffer. Wool pad still in the cabinet. I have these little ketchup bottles. This is made by a company called Sun Gold, Eclipse cutting cream, and then this is their polish right here in this one, and then a swirl remover. And I also like this Meguiar swirl free polish a little better than I like that Eclipse polish. For some reason that stuff gums up the pad. It's a pretty inexpensive system, but that's where I'm at with this one. And I'll take you over to the other side real quick here, and I'll show you how to take those runs out with a razor blade. I'm done with the sanding on this side. There's nothing else that's going to get sanded. My blend area is there. I'm going to use my little 3-inch pad on my pneumatic air buffer and buff that off. And you can't even really see these up here. They blend it out pretty good, but there's actually a blend line up in here that should come out real easy. So I'm going to do that. I'll turn this off and get you guys set up on the other side. So hang on. Alright, I got you guys zoomed in. This is the only run that I know of on this side. I haven't spotted any others. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a razor blade, single edge razor blade, keeping it, I've already started a little bit on this, but you want to keep it perpendicular and drag it lightly. Now we're not going to get all this one out because it's in that, starting to get into that chip guard. This is something you really want to do after the clear coat's sat for a while, unless you have really warm shop temperatures. This is a speed clear. I probably could have done this a while ago, but two little drippers right there. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be able to razor blade those. I think I'm going to have to take a piece of paint stick with some sandpaper on it and finger those off. But the rest of this rocker looks good. I don't see anything jumping out at me. I don't feel anything up here. So we're probably okay with that. Now this side, I wanted to show you guys how to do that wet sanding real quick with the block. Sorry about the shaky cam here. I'm going to do this whole side with the DA. I don't have any reason to do it by hand, truthfully. I'm just trying to knock that little bit of peel out of it. I truthfully think I'm going to do this whole side with the 2000. I'm not even going to mess with the 1500 and see what it does. I think that'll probably be okay. Sometimes I'll keep a trigger bottle of water out and squirt the surface with this pad, but I don't have my water bottle filled up, and I want to keep going to show you guys here. The other thing is, and I don't know why, the Merca pads, I don't know if you guys can see this, they don't fit a 6-inch DA real well. They're almost a little short, so they're real hard to get centered. You definitely don't want to hit anything with this edge here, so you got to be careful. I feel like I want to try and center that up just a little better. You just don't fit all that well. It's almost like they shrunk after they were made. Something else noteworthy, keep an eye on where your hose is dangling around so it's not banging into the side of your work, because it can scratch that clear. I've got one of those old 2000 grit pads in my hand here, just kind of getting into the little crevices in the areas that I think I want to make sure they're looking pretty decent. And that's pretty much it for the 2000 on this one. As you can see, if you let that clear set and get hard, it sands pretty easy. Now you can come in the day after this MS30 clear, you can certainly do it later in the day if it's hot out. But it's been so damn cold, and I tried to heat the shop for at least a day, and then I've been in and out of here off and on, running the heat. It's critical, it really is, to have it warm enough for this stuff to kick and to cure. Because if you don't, you will fight and fight and fight trying to buff it. It's just, it ends up being an absolute nightmare trying to get one to buff and stay shiny. You'll get them to come up, but you won't get it to stay shiny. It'll die back on you. So you really want to make sure I think I might live with those two little dots down here. They're so close to that seam sealer, I'm afraid I'm going to cut through it. Yeah, those are going to stay. So, that's pretty much it for my wet sanding here. Yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be the end of the road on the wet sanding part. I'll show you what I did on the other side to this blend area that you're going to see when you open the door. You're not going to see much of it, unfortunately. So there's really not much of an area here that needs to be fixed. And you notice I did not pull the tape off of this after I painted it, which is kind of not a good idea, but I knew I was going to be buffing it, and I figured I'd rather fight the tape than waste more. And you really don't need to sand on those hard. Just a light, easy. And I'm not even worried about that line back in there. You'll never see it. And I melted it out pretty good. It's a little dull, but that is not a concern of mine. So that's it for the wet sanding video. Apologize, it kind of took a long time for me to show you how to do this, but that, make sure we're zoomed back out here. That's pretty much it. I'm going to get to the buffing. I think I'm going to, instead of using the large buffer, I think I'm going to do the pneumatic buffer on the whole thing. And I'll get that out and get it set up and show you guys how that's all going to play out. So we'll catch you in a little bit. This will probably be video number 1, and then I'll have another one up for you later. Okay, see ya.